All right, we are live.
Yeah.
What's going on, Dontae? What's going on, Arab?
What's going on, man?
What's going on? Man, you know, it's one of those days that I've been waiting for, just to get together with you guys and spill a little knowledge, share our thoughts on boxing, that's a good idea, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
By the
Whole lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, by the time we got it together.
Yeah, a whole lot, man. Yes, sir. About time, man. It's been a minute. So welcome, A-Rec, because I've already done this with Dontae in the past. Everybody, my channel, RawBoxingTV, ArabKing, and Dontae's Boxing Nation. Look them up on YouTube. Excellent channels. I recommend them all. And let's, subscribe to each one of our channels, and you will not regret it. If you like a little bit of confrontation every now and then, you will have that. If you want a little bit of boxing knowledge, you will have that. If you want a little bit of everything when it comes to boxing, trust me, you will find it in our channel. Let's get to boxing. I want to get your thoughts on something that's kind of going around in boxing as far as the Lara Canelo fight, and I like to gather your thoughts. Let's see what Arab got to say about that, bro. What you got to say on this situation? I mean, obviously you've seen the clips of their little training section. We're getting ready to start the All Access. What do you think, man? Are you buying into the hype? Are you a guy that goes by hype, or do you gather your own thoughts?
Nah, man. Lara, he's gonna outbox the kid, man. He gonna take him to Cuban school, like he said. Canelo, he turned pro early, so he didn't get a chance to go to high school. So come Saturday night, he gonna take him back to high school. But of course, I'm going with Lara. I think he's gonna outbox him. Canelo, his game plan should be the pressure, but that's not him. We all know he's naturally a boxer. He want to be a boxer. You never see him start a fight by pressuring his opponent. Even when he fought Lopez, 140-pounder, you point that out. As soon as the fight start, he start backing up, trying to figure his opponent out. And he cannot do that with Lara. I mean, you saw what happened with Floyd Mayweather, and Lara is not a punching bag. He's not Angulo. It's a whole different story. And I think, like I said, come Saturday night, Lara gonna take him to school. Whether he get the win or not, we don't know, because Canelo, like I said, he might go to school and don't pass the classes and still graduate, because they might rob, Lara. We already know that. If Lara got robbed against Paul Williams, ain't no telling what might happen against Canelo Alvarez if Floyd Mayweather, made it a shutout when he fought him and one judge had it a draw. So we'll see. What's your thoughts, Dontae?
Absolutely. I mean, the fight can't be close. We already know that. We seen what happened in Texas with the Austin Trout situation. They had it a damn near shutout. But when it comes to, Canelo versus Edeslami Lara, once again, everyone keeps focusing on the same thing, which is look at what Canelo did to Angulo, which it doesn't make sense at all, because once again, if you play in the triangle theory, then we also have to obviously look at what Lara did to Austin Trout. I mean, it's two different type of opponents. And my whole thing is, if Canelo had problems with a slower southpaw who didn't have the type of foot movement, who didn't have the type of precision or even amateur pedigree that Edeslami Lara has, imagine the problems that he's going to have with Edeslami Lara. Because, like I said, Canelo, he was dealing with a slow Austin Trout that was a southpaw. He's not dealing with the type of southpaw with the type of foot movement and amateur pedigree that Edeslami Lara has. The only chance I really only give Canelo is maybe him getting lucky and catching Lara with like some nice, quick, surprise counter shot. And, maybe he may hurt him or whatever. But once again, even if he does that, I truly believe Lara has the type of heart where he'll get up and he'll fight even stronger. And that's another reason why this fight reminds me a lot of the Corte De La Hoya fight. Because remember, Corte got knocked down and that pissed Corte off. He got up, and then he knocked down De La Hoya, and then he chased De La Hoya for the next 3 rounds after that. So, this is the season of the upsets, man. And right now, Canelo is looking like a massive favorite, to all the all the fans and the decafs. You know what I mean? So we gonna see. We gonna.
And you know what's funny?
Huh?
You know what's funny? Most of the decafs, like you call them, don't even know what fight you're talking about when you say De La Hoya Corte. So anyway,
no, exactly. Yeah. Hey, but let me say something. Hey, but let me say something else too, because I just told you, Ranger, it took me a while to come home from the gym because I got into a big ass debate, and I'm thinking these are boxing trainers that I'm talking to, right? And all of a sudden, all of a sudden they start telling me, they start talking about Floyd and Canelo. And all of a sudden, this dude started telling me, "Oh yeah, Canelo, Mayweather don't want to see no Canelo after Mayweather just watched the Angulo fight. He don't want to see no Canelo." And I'm like,
"Are you serious?"
Oh yeah. He said Mayweather ain't gonna want to see him. I guarantee you, he don't want to see that type of Canelo. And he started telling me how Canelo would dominate. He said, "Look at the way Canelo looked against Angulo. You see, he gonna do that to Mayweather." I'm like, "Wow, are you serious?"
Mayweather won that money again.
Another trainer.
That's crazy.
My goodness.
Okay.
I said, you know what? I'm glad you saying this because you building up a fight that ain't even going to be competitive. But
well, you know what? Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just saying. But you gotta love the casual fans that say stuff like this because they build up a fight, build more anticipation on something that, common sense fans like us know ain't even, a competitive matchup. But this dude was adamant, man. I mean, he was sitting over here saying, "Yeah, man, Floyd don't want to see this type of Canelo. Canelo, he grew from that fight and so on and so forth." And then they start bashing Floyd Mayweather. And I didn't even know they was like this, until the conversation came out. So that's why, like I said, it was just supposed to be a 2-minute conversation. That shit damn near turned into an hour. And they just started, saying all kind of stuff. But
when it comes to
go, man, what y'all
before I go ahead and put my piece in, I like to say every Tuesday afternoon, log into alltalkradio.net. Dontae's Boxing Nation's got a radio show in there. You might want to tell him the time, man. Let him know what's up.
Absolutely. alltalkradio.net, 3 p.m. Tuesday Pacific Standard Time. Just go ahead and go to alltalkradio.net and you can watch it live. Or you can come to the channel, or you can even watch it on boxingtalk.com. But go ahead and watch it live and then go to my channel and watch it as well. And join in, with everybody commenting and saying smart stuff and even dumb stuff.
Definitely. And let me tell you something, guys. It's a good show, man. He done had in there Sean Porter, Porter's dad. We had recently new crown champ Chris Algier. We had him in there. We had Rances Barthélemy. We've had pretty good names in there, and the show's a blast. It's not your.
It keeps growing.
But before I say, let me go ahead and put my piece in. Actually, Floyd Mayweather is one of the subjects we're going to get into, but I'm going to go ahead and say this off. When it comes to Canelo, it's really funny how the boxing public views Canelo, because when he fought Floyd, he was this unexperienced kid who was just cherry-picked by Floyd, and Floyd just outboxed him. But now that he's fighting Lara, he's this superstar, this massive, this plow, this Hiroshima bomb type guy, So it's like a guy cannot make such a drastic change from one fight to another. As a hen, you're gonna have to choose which nest to lay your eggs. Let's put it that way. But when it comes to Canelo, man, I've said it plenty of times. Many people get upset with me. Oh, where do you get your proof that he's gonna take Canelo to school? This is boxing. Nobody can say for certain 100% that Canelo will be taken to school by Lara. One thing I will tell you is, from the things that we've been gathering, or I've been gathering, I'm more confident on what I think about the fight. Not to mention the fact that, it's very easy when you see somebody that has never fought, talk about a fighter, you can clearly say, oh, he don't know what he's talking about. But let's see something here. When you take two fighters, they have already fought, both of these fighters, and they give you their opinion. Now, you would think that would count on the public's ears, right? You would think so, right? Because both of these fighters that are giving their opinion have shared the same ring with the fighters that are getting ready to go at it, right? When they asked Austin Trout who he got, he said Lara is going to win that fight. When they asked Alfredo Angulo, Mexican fellow Alfredo Angulo, right, he said Lara is a better fighter than Canelo. When I hear people say Canelo's just gonna go and knock out Lara, it's possible. It's boxing. Anything can happen, right? But then again, I sit here and I say, okay, we've seen Lara get dropped twice, right? And he gets up, and instead of running around and not do nothing, he does about a circle, recomposes himself, comes back, beats Angulo to the punch, and continues to dominate the fight, right? We've never seen that from Canelo. Why? Because Canelo, how many natural junior middleweights has he fought that you can think off the top of your head? Dontae or Arab? How many?
One.
Not too many.
Two at the most. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So when I hear people talk about, the pressure that Canelo puts, right? The output, the power, the explosiveness. I sit here and I'm thinking, okay, that's all sounds good, right? But I want to know, when has Canelo fought somebody like Lara? Because when you ask me the same question, I'm going to tell you, well, Lara fought Paul William, who was taller, applied constant pressure, constant grind, longer reach, right? Carried himself with power, right? Lara fought Alfredo Angulo, who, when they fought, wasn't psychologically damaged and constantly applied pressure. And we saw Lara dominate the fight, not in a outstanding way, but he kept control of the fight except for the rounds that he was knocked down in, which automatically makes him lose those rounds 10-8. So why am I leaning more towards Lara? Not just because of what you guys may think, but it's because things have been proven. First of all, Canelo's not a pressure fighter. I'm sure all of you agree with me on that. Canelo's not the type of fighter that grinds constantly because he doesn't have the gas. He's got a 2-gallon gas tank that runs out pretty quick. Is he a power puncher? Well, I've never seen him knock out a natural junior middleweight, so I don't know. Yes, he dropped Trout. Trout got back up, continued to beat him to the punch. He'd never dropped Angulo. Matter of fact, never knocked out Angulo. The ref stopped the fight. I never seen Angulo hurt on that fight, wobbly or anything. So is Canelo a power puncher? His record says he is. We'll see what happens on July 12th, you know?
Yeah, well, I'm
So,
glad. Yeah, go ahead, Don Ranger, finish.
No, I was giving you the go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that Canelo fought Angulo before he fought Lara, because a lot of people are going based on that, and they saying that, that Canelo is going to do what he did to Angulo. He's going to do the same thing to Lara. And I'm like, if you're going to compare Lara to anybody that Canelo faced, compare him to Floyd, the guy who schooled him, not to Angulo, who's a punching bag, who can't counter punch. You throw a punch at him, you don't got to worry about what's coming back, because either he leads first or he's just blocked. He's not going to counter you. So that's why
he blocks with his face.
Exactly, and like Dontae BoxingNation says, if Angulo was any slower that night, it looked like he would be moving backwards. So, like I said, you can't compare him to Lara. And also, tell me a southpaw other than Austin Trout that Canelo fought. And Canelo
that with the skills that Lara has.
Exactly, a slickster like Lara, and it's crazy because Canelo don't even have a amateur background, so he's gonna be frustrated, come fight night against Lara due to the fact that Lara is a slick southpaw, a mover, and he has power, and he's natural at 154. Floyd Mayweather schooled him, and he was a 147-pounder, and he don't pack that much of a punch. Yeah, he got respectful power, but Lara, he could hurt you. And don't be surprised, like I said, if you see Canelo get dropped or get hurt, come fight night. And another thing, Canelo is vulnerable for that straight left. Straight punches down the pipe will catch Canelo. That straight left will be murdering him.
one thing I like to add, Dontae. Go ahead.
No, all I was saying is I was responding to what you said about he's not a pressure fighter. Canelo's not a pressure fighter, and that's another misconception people have. Once again, even when Canelo tried to pressure Floyd Mayweather, he didn't do it in an Angulo Margarito style. He did it from a distance. He was basically trying to catch Floyd Mayweather with long shots, and even when he threw his hooks, he was far away from Floyd. That's why Floyd was able to counter him with long right hands. Because if he was real close to Floyd Mayweather, then Floyd would be countering with hooks and uppercuts. But he was countering him with straight rights because Canelo wasn't closing the gap. He's not willing to put his head in the meat grinder and sacrifice getting hit with a couple of shots so that he could get off his own shots. That's not Canelo. That's never going to be Canelo. And the damn show ain't going to be him over the next 6 months or 3 months of a training camp. You know,
exactly.
The thing is, I truly believe that Canelo, he's a good fighter, but he does have confident issues. Because when he was fighting against Austin Trout, he was getting caught with shots later on in that fight. And after he would get caught with a good shot, he would be on some Victor Ortiz shit. Well, all of a sudden, he goes from being the aggressor to bouncing around the ring, you know? And then he'll start tying up, Trout. He would back up, and then he would try to jump back in and see if he had something. He's very inconsistent, and that's not going to work against Erislandy Lara once again, unless he just closes his eyes, throws a lucky punch, and opens up, and Lara's on the ground. Like, oh shit, did I do that? I mean, that's the only way I see him.
And the thing is, talking about that fight, I think the only reason the judges found it easy to give it to him was because of that knockdown. But in my eyes, he lost to Trout, no matter how many people want to hate on me for saying that. That's the truth. When it comes to and you know, for those of you that have the conception, well, this ain't the amateurs. This is the pros, where if it don't matter if you land 40 shots on me, if I land 3 good power bombs on you, I win the round. Let's go to the rule book when it comes to pro boxing, and then come back at me with that nonsense. And then you'll see that all you're doing is following, retweeting in your mind everything that Jim Lampley has taught you to say, Max Kellerman has taught you to say, Larry Merchant has taught you to say. Everything that all these people have taught you to say is the same thing you're saying. So when you talk about, well, this is the pros, you know, Canelo landed the power bombs, so he won. No. Everybody likes power bomb. I love it myself, but I love boxing. In boxing, it's got a simple rule. It must be followed, period. After all, you can't go to, you know, you just can't go to another sport and add another rule just for your convenience, you know, and it's just not the way boxing is pursued. Another thing, man, people keep saying Erislandy Lara is just a two-handed fighter with a 1-2. That's it. Understand something about Cuban fighters. They're taught to use their tools as needed. Repeat, they're taught to use their tools as needed. What do I mean by that? You got an opponent in front of you. If you don't need to use a certain hand because you don't feel comfortable with his style, don't use it. Use what's working with you. When you tell me that Lara is a 1-2 fighter, I invite you to watch the Austin Trout fight where Erislandy Lara was using that 1-2. When Canelo was coming in, Erislandy Lara was using the uppercuts. When Erislandy Lara was using the right hooks. When you talk those nonsense, I invite you to look at the fights where Erislandy Lara has been forced to dig into his bag and pull the tools that he has, like Paul Williams fight, where the overhand left hand was there, the uppercuts, the 1-2s and moving. Just because you hear another YouTube say he's just a two-handed fighter, don't mean that's what it is. Just because you hear Max and Jim say it, it don't mean what it is. Just because you hear the people in Showtime say it, it don't mean that that's what it is. Please gather your own conclusion about a fighter, and you will feel better when it comes to talking about boxing. Because you're your own man. You're not a follower. You're a leader of your own thoughts. Yeah. Period.
Absolutely.
And
let me just say this. Let me say this too, Ranger. No, go ahead, Rap.
No, go ahead, man. No.
Hey, Rap.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go.
I just say one piece right quick.
I don't want to be hogging it, but anyway. I was basically going to say, a lot of people are also saying they giving Canelo out. See, it's crazy how it works. The double standards are ridiculous, man. when Mayweather beats this guy, everyone, they shit on Mayweather and they say, well, you know, he was cherry picking. He knew it was an easy fight. Now people are telling me that Floyd Mayweather, now that Canelo lost to Mayweather, that makes him a better fighter because he was in there with such a great fighter. That makes him a great fighter. And the experience that he gained from the Floyd Mayweather fight, that's what's going to help him beat Erislandy Lara. This is the way these people think, man. And logically, it makes no sense. Canelo, this is what they were telling me at the gym right now, man. They were saying that, they was like, come on, man. You see all that experience? He was a baby when he was in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. He was 23 and he was a baby at 23. A world champion is a baby at 23 years old, right?
A unified champ.
Forget about what Mayweather did at 23. Forget about what Sugar Ray Leonard, whoever else. But he's a baby at 23. Give him a pass. It's like they gave him an A+ on losing, basically. You know? They say he didn't dominate Mayweather. He didn't get dominated by Mayweather. Go ahead,
exactly, 170-something pound baby who started knocking out older men while being a baby. How come it does count when he wins a fight, but it doesn't when he loses a fight? How does that work? How come he's not a baby when he's knocking fools out, but when he loses a fight, you know what, man? I understand he lost, man. He's just a baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he was scared of the baby before, right?
Yeah, he was a heavy baby. Yeah, he was a heavy baby too.
Yeah.
Well,
man, go ahead and spit that knowledge, A-Rap.
You know, like I said, you know, even you got people saying that Lara is chinny, so as soon as Canelo catch him, your boy gonna fall down and he won't be able to get up. And like,
might be.
I mean, did Paulie Malignaggi hit Lara and knock him down or something for you to say that? I mean, it was Angulo, a power puncher, one of the hardest punchers at 154. He caught him with a vicious left hook, and he put him down. And what happened? Lara got up in 2 seconds, and he recovered quick. You know, and that's another thing. He stayed composed. And like I said, if Canelo catch him, that's what's going to happen. He's going to get up and stay composed. Now, when Canelo get hurt, will he stay composed? Will he, you know, maintain his game plan? That's the questions that we're going to find out come Saturday night. And like I said, you could say whatever about Lara Chin, but that's the only time he been down and he got up and shows that he had a chin. I mean, when Amir Khan got put down by Prescott, you saw what happened. He got up, his legs were wobbling, but did you see that with Lara? I mean, come on. Like I said, he didn't get knocked down by a light puncher. He got put down by a power puncher.
A power puncher. And the thing is this, man, and I'm sure most of you, not just YouTube, but most of the people watching this video is going to agree. When you hear some fans say, well, he ain't got no chin because he got dropped, okay, it makes me just pull my hairs, man, because it's like these are the people that claim to know more boxing than us. Because here's the deal. If you're going to judge Lara of not having a chin because he's been down, and not even casual fans, you hear professional boxers spitting this nonsense. You hear trainers out there spitting that, well, Lara ain't got it. His chin is suspect. He was down twice. Well, let me ask you a question, man. Some of the greatest chins have been down. Duran, you know, Hands of Stone Duran was down in his fights. He would get up sometimes and knock people out. Chavez Sr. went down in several fights. The man would get up and rip your head apart. Oscar De La Hoya would go down, get up and knock people out. Tito Trinidad would get down, get up and rip people's heads off. Antonio Margarito has been down. He will get up and... So when you guys say, oh man, this guy got such a great chin, but no, not Lara. He was down twice. Well, wait a minute. Why aren't you counting the times this guy's been down? So that's not how it works, man. You don't judge a fighter because he was knocked down and now all of a sudden he ain't got no chin, because it makes no sense. Especially when a fighter gets up, shakes it up, and continues to win that round, except by the rule book, he loses it 10-8. It's just nonsense. Again, lead your thoughts. Don't follow other people's thoughts. It's just going to help you a lot in life, not just in boxing, man, period. Period. Let's switch that subject. I don't want to I don't want to just stay on that subject. And that's a subject that, honestly, I can stay talking about that subject for like...
Let me just throw this last part.
I don't know. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You heard people also say that because Canelo has a big heart, a bigger heart than Lara. He might pull it off due to that. And I'm like, you got a Canelo, a guy when he fought Mosley, when he had a cut, he was saying, I was proud that I fought with a cut. I was like, what? Did you see what Lara, did you see his forehead when he fought Paul Williams? I mean, and you talking about being proud that you fought on with a cut. I mean, and he's going to tell me that guy has bigger heart than Lara. So we all know. You're going to find .com.
Angulo quits.
Yeah.
But Lara didn't quit versus Williams.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And like I said, I'm happy that Canelo fought Angulo before he fought Lara, because now I think Lara is almost 90-10 underdog. I mean, the way people are looking at it, I thought it was a 50-50 fight.
Listen.
That's how I thought people was viewing it. Now I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn, everybody think Canelo's gonna win. And I thought from the start, this fight was at 80-20 in favor of Lara. But the public are viewing it 90-10 in favor of Canelo. It's crazy.
And that's good. Because you know why? Whenever the fight happens and it goes our way, the better we look. It don't mean that they're going to start listening to us, but it's just another smack in their face. So, and before we switch to the other subject, there's a professional boxer out there that I lost a bet to today on a soccer game. His name is Yurkis Gamboa. Okay, the bet was, if you go to my Twitter, you'll be able to see it in more detail. The bet was, he was rooting for Costa Rica. I get into the conversation. I tell him, no, Italy's going to win. So he said, okay, Ranger, let's do this. If Costa Rica wins, I'll send you autograph gloves. If Costa Rica wins and loses, I'll send you the gloves. But if my team wins, it's amazing what he asked me. I've never expected this from. He said, if I lose the bet, then I had to wear my next video. He said, if Ranger loses the bet, on his next video, he has to wear the T-shirt with the Mexican flag on. Now,
and you don't even got
before we say anything, listen, Gamboa, I will wear that shirt. I promise. In my next video, you're gonna see me with the Mexican colors on, and it's gonna happen. I gotta honor that, and I gotta say that before he goes on and tweets and say, well, where's those colors? I thought your next video was supposed to be in that. Dontae, let's talk about, one thing I want to talk about is a past fight. If you go to my videos, if you go to Twitter, Algieri's still being attacked. People calling him, that they gave him the fight. Please, let's elaborate on that fight, because I'm sick and tired of the double standards on this fight, the mouth of Freddie Roach. Dontae, go on and say something, man.
Well, see, this is the whole thing, man. Jim Lampley, like I said, the ringleader, he has his gaddy list, right? And in order for him to try to prove his point, that the roster of fighters that he has are better than those, other fighters that's not exciting and entertaining, he has to keep, trying to promote that these fighters are better. Ruslan Provodnikov is one of those fighters that he wanted to be one of the next big things, along with fighters like Gennady Golovkin and Sergio Martinez when he was winning, so on and so forth. So his agenda, at least Jim Lampley's agenda, is to try to promote Ruslan Provodnikov to win. So he was kind of upset to see this guy, Chris Algieri, come in here and actually surprise and upset this guy. If you notice, especially in the first round, when you see Chris Algieri get knocked down, I kind of noticed this with Max and Jim. They were so focused on those knockdowns that they didn't start to realize the transition of Algieri starting to outbox Ruslan Provodnikov. Because I heard Max Kellerman say, well, you know what? Actually, Algieri is doing pretty good right now. But they were still giving the rounds to Ruslan Provodnikov, right? So the whole thing is they're blinded, and they want to be blinded because they're looking for Ruslan Provodnikov to win the fight. But Algieri, he put on an excellent performance. He completely outboxed this dude like it was an easy fight. I was so surprised that after the 5th, 6th round, I was watching the fight with a casual friend, friend of mine. He's a casual fan, and he was like, "Man, this dude is outclassing. He's outboxing this dude easy. What are they talking about on TV?" And he didn't even really watch boxing. He was like, what are they talking about? I only gave this Rosen guy like 1 round,
Yeah.
And you hear Max and you hear Jim, here they are constantly saying, they over here arguing about how far Ruslan is ahead, right? So, I mean, and Andre, another thing that they do too, man, is like I said, whoever sits next to them, they make them feel very uncomfortable with the peer pressure, when they're constantly pushing their agenda on someone sitting next to them, like Andre Ward or Roy Jones or rest in peace, Emmanuel Stewart. You notice these guys are very hesitant to disagree. Andre Ward, he was almost scared to say it. Later on in the fight, it took him a while to say it, but he finally said, like round 8 or 9, he said, you know what, guys? I think Algeria is actually winning the fight. But then later on, at the end of the fight, Jim Lampley, he said, this is, he was basically hinting that this was somewhat of a robbery. He said, what do you think, Andre Ward? And then Andre was like, well, I got to go home and watch it, because he's so afraid to express himself around someone like Jim Lampley. So that's pretty much how that situation went, man.
What you got to say about that fight, man? Arab?
Man, I think they took the shine away from Algieri, man. Because, they took the credit away from him, outboxing Provodnikov. Because, first of all, he showed that he had balls when he fought Provodnikov in the first place. We got guys like Marquez who are avoiding him. And he took the fight. And then, during the fight, he showed that he had skills. And he also showed that he had heart because he got dropped. You saw how his eye was swollen, and he still found a way to win the fight. And he showed a lot of great skills, like I said, because he didn't have no amateur background, which I was shocked the way he would, if he can't move to the right or the left, he would smother Provodnikov and then land a punch, then move out of the way. He did a lot of good things. And like I said, they didn't give him no credit for that. And they basically took the shine away from him. And, he earned it. It's not like like I said, you never gave Algeria credit, so don't take the credit that he earned away from him. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
The winner and the champ is Algeria, so the haters can hate all they want. So they already talking about Algeria versus Pacquiao or a rematch. So if Provodnikov was a rematch, let's do it again.
Here's the deal, man. Dontae, when we had Algeria in the show, you remember how confident he was. This guy was talking so confident that you can't even consider it cocky. His words were just sincere. When he said, I don't know what people are making a big fuss about. I mean, yeah, he's got a good hook or whatnot. But I mean, he was pretty much so calm, like he wasn't acting like the type of fighter, like a fighter usually acts when he gets that first title shot, when he gets that fight versus the dangerous guy. He was there like, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym, have a training section, and then we keep talking. That's how confident he was. Now, here's the deal. This is what bothers me about, again, people not following their own thoughts. During that fight, we obviously see Chris Algieri put in a class against the destroyer Provodnikov, which I like Provodnikov. This ain't against him. How can you not like Provodnikov, okay? But during the fight, you hear Freddie Roach, trainer of the year, I don't know how many times, right, say, this fight's too close, man. You're going to need a knockout, right? During that fight, but after that fight, you hear the fighter himself say, well, it's just this type of style is not my style. I just can't win, I just can't handle the movers, the runners, whatever they want to call it. So then fans, the people that are not in there, the people that are not trainer of the year, the people that are not boxing knowledgeable fans, who we want to call it, now they start saying, they're retweeting in their mind the same thing they're hearing Jim Lampley and Max Kellerman say. They're not talking from their own conclusions. They're just retweeting in their mind what all these fools are saying, right? But here's what's shocking. Then you see Freddie Roach go to the post-press, which was, I think, 45 minutes after the fight or an hour after the fight. You see Freddie Roach on the post-press talking about he thought Ruslan got robbed. So now, not only the casual fans contradicting himself, but trainer of the year is contradicting himself. with his own statement, right?
Yeah.
But not only Freddie, Ruslan himself started talking the usual talk. I got robbed. The runners, all he did was run. I landed the bigger shots. So it amazes me how come people don't catch these things and say, oh man, these people is just, they hurting in here. You know what I'm saying? They can't, I don't get it, man. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if I'm so infatuated with the art of boxing. I don't know what it is, but let me repeat it. Just because you're a pro boxer don't mean you're going to beat a guy who just outlanding you, right? Just because you landed 2, 3, 4 power punches during that round. When in fact the guy, you put 4 on him, but he just put 30 on you. So who's winning that round? Period. And that's the rule book for boxing. Those of you that are saying that's amateur, go to the rule book for boxing, professional boxing, then come at me with that knowledge, with that nonsense. You probably won't even have the guts to say it after you read what's in there. So,
real talk. And let me just say this. Speaking of Freddie Roach, contradicting himself and saying stuff like this, it's called throwing red meat to the base. That's what it is. The base, meaning his fans. He throws the red meat at them, and they eat the shit up. They understand.
Yeah.
See, Freddie Roach is smart enough, I think, to know whatever he says, people, the dumbass fans, they're going to eat it up.
He's a promoter.
Especially if it's in favor of him or one of his fighters. This is the whole reason why Jim Lampley came up with his own TV show. Because he wanted to throw red meat to the fan base that hate
Let me
fighters
take this
like,
red hat off, bro.
Like Floyd Mayweather and Guillermo Rigo and all of them. That's what he did, right? And this was the whole reason why he came out with this show, because he said, I got to get this message out to get everyone to believe this shit. How many times have we seen people type them exact same words? Floyd don't fight nobody. They either too old, too small, too tall, too young, too short, too strong, too whatever, right? This is exactly what they got from Jim Lampley. That was the first thing he opened up with his TV show. So not to go to the Floyd Mayweather situation yet, but the point I'm making is they throw the red meat to the base, because they know they're going to eat the shit up. So that's why Freddie Roach did that.
Oh, yeah. And the reason I say Freddie is a promoter, man, for him to even, did you hear him say, oh, well, this Miguel Cotto would knock out Cotto? What did Cotto do special in that fight? What did Cotto do different in that fight other than what he's been doing for years? The only thing I seen in Cotto that night was a little more mentally motivated. That's it. Man. But physically, Cotto was Cotto that night. Now, I want to raise a question that was brought to me. And I know this is going to start controversy, but, the truth, what happens, Dontae, the truth will always hurt, my brother. So here it is.
Man. Or it shall set
Somebody
you free.
Somebody asked me on Twitter, okay, Ranger, why is it that every single Freddie Roach fighter moves up in weight and carries along or increases its speed, which is not supposed to happen, and its power? I'll leave that for what you guys want to leave it as. So let's get out of that subject before they shoot this computer.
All of a sudden, the program is going to shut off right now in the middle of this talking. No. But just go ahead, AK. Go ahead, you go ahead, because I'm gonna run my mouth. So go ahead.
Well, on the Cotto situation, I really don't want to get into it too much. But even Puerto Rican fan who was talking trash to me when I said that Sergio was gonna knock out Cotto. After the fight, I'm being honest. He came at me and he told me that he's suspicious of Cotto, and he thought that that Cotto was on the juice once he moved with Freddie Roach. So,
that's the same guy that came at me on Twitter.
Yeah, probably. Probably. I don't know, man. But, I
it
was
has
shocked
to be.
He was talking trash to me, so I figured, I was like, that was kind of weird for him to say that, him being Puerto Rican, so I'll leave it at that. So, I mean, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that's what he told me.
It has to be.
Listen. This is all I'm going to say about it. I mean, even if we're talking about speculation or if we're just looking at just the facts, shit looks fishy. And what I mean by that is if you got Freddie Roach, who we already know he worked with James Toney, and we know that James Toney, he tested positive on numerous occasions, right? And then, we hear about Manny Pacquiao's situation. Freddie Roach, he just admitted. Now he's admitting, it was our fault the first time we didn't take the fight. So now you're admitting it, and you know the reason why you didn't take the first fight. Alex Ariza gets kicked out of the camp. Now Freddie Roach is admitting that Alex Ariza was putting stuff in Manny Pacquiao's drinks. Freddie Roach is a very honest person. He's not always the smartest because he's admitting shit that are serious admissions. You know what I mean? So
and people ain't hearing that.
Suspicion. If we just looking at the suspicion, then it is consistent with all the shit that's going on. You can just leave it that way. I'm going to just tell you guys this. I think, hopefully it won't be 20, 30 years from now, but I think there's going to come to a point, there's going to come to a time in the future where we going to find out a lot about this shit. Somebody going to come out and they going to tell us and expose a whole lot of stuff that's been going on that people have been sweeping under the rug. And I don't know when it'll happen. And I'm not saying Freddie or whatever is guilty or whatever, but I think some shit is going to come to the light eventually.
It's got to be something, especially with Alex Ariza. If you think about Alex, the brother's going to have to go on food stamp pretty soon because he can't hold the job.
No shit, because he cannot hold down a job, boy.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my goodness.
Look what he got caught on the Bronner fight putting something in Maidana's mouth. Right?
That was crazy. Yeah,
so, it's like when you put the pieces together, it only leads to one road, man. Yes, we don't have 100% proof of this being true, but we can only gather our own thoughts from our own little investigation and from this people's confessions. And I don't know, man, but boxing is crazy, man. The way that people work with their mind when it comes to boxing, it's crazy. Go on, Arab.
And while Robert Garcia won't talk about why he kicked Alex out. That's what I'm saying. Like, if it was money problem or money issue, he could have said, he was asking too much money or anything. After the shape that he got Maidana in for the Floyd Mayweather fight, why would you kick Alex out? It has to be something, suspicious, really suspicious, like I said. And, for one thing, though, Manny Pacquiao, though, I just want to get that out. Manny Pacquiao is out of the equation, though. He's not on steroids. He's just scared of needles. He's just scared of needles. That's why I don't want to take. That's why I don't want to take the blood test. Like, really, you ain't scared of needles no more. But yeah, go ahead, Dontae.
Like you said, the whole thing with Robert Garcia, we already know how things are run. When you have two people who commit a crime or whatever the case may be, they ain't gonna talk about what they did. They may sever ties, but they ain't gonna talk about what they did. So, the whole thing is, we already kind of know what Robert Garcia is about. As far as I'm concerned, I looked at him as somewhat, shady when I seen the situation with the gloves and how he was still trying to defend somebody like Marcos Maidana after we seen the gloves. And once again, people always talk about the other gloves, like those are regular gloves. No, we only talking about the very first pair of gloves, the ones that look like some old ass swap meet. Sponged up gloves, right? So
the ones that have been used through the whole career?
Yeah. Look like some Louis Resto type gloves on some real talk. But anyway, the fact that Robert Garcia defended, Maidana and said, well, how come we can't use these gloves? That makes me think that he's shady. So the point that I'm making once again is, if you sever ties with somebody like that and you say, no, I'm not going to talk about what happened. Let's just say we leaving it at that, because he knows that if he tells, then Alex Ariza going to be like, okay, well, let me tell y'all what Robert Garcia did with me, So he can't, so
exactly.
That's the whole thing. I'm just saying that's the assumption right there. That's the only thing that really makes sense, because like I said, when Freddie fired Alex Ariza, he went ahead and snitched his ass out. He didn't mind snitching his ass out, right?
Oh, definitely.
Because he like, you ain't got nothing on me. He was like, you ain't got nothing on me, Alex. But Robert not doing the same thing. So that's pretty much all I got to say on that.
He didn't do Pacquiao favor with that, though. He didn't do Pacquiao a favor, though. Because he made
Pacquiao.
He didn't.
No. Because a lot of things is just out there now.
Yeah,
but are you going to talk about this?
Yeah, go.
Topic? Yeah, I'm bringing up.
Go say what you was going to say.
Yeah, well, I was just going to talk about what y'all think about Robert Guerrero. He talking about he want a rematch with Floyd. You know,
Oh,
he want
God.
another shot.
It's good. It's good to make $3 million. That's all I gotta say.
It's real. There you go. You hit it right on the dot. I'll tell you this though, AK. Real quick, and I'll let you go, AK. I'll tell you this. In order for him to do that, he gonna have to fucking make it back up to the top of the division. He got the first fight because he beat Andre Berto, right? So now you're gonna have to beat somebody like what? Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Marquez, maybe even somebody at the top of the welterweight division. Now you know we already know he turned down a Keith Thurman fight. You know, so don't think you're just gonna get a handout. Don't think you're just gonna get a handout. Oh, I'm gonna get that $3 million welfare. No, you're gonna have to work for that shit. You're gonna have to work for that next $3 million check. So that's the only way he's gonna get that.
Yeah. And you know, Robert, here's the deal with Robert Guerrero. I like the kid. Don't get me wrong. I'll tell you who I do not like. This guy acts so cheap. This guy acts so fake thug, if I want to put it that way. I can't stand these dads sometimes, bro.
Oh, it's dad,
my Ruben. I can't stand it. But it's like
American me. Yeah.
Okay, well, this is the way I look at it. When let's say I'm Ruben, right? I gotta think of the fact that when I'm up there in the eyes of the world, I'm representing my people. You know, a lot of people is gonna sit there and be like, "Well, look how Mexicans are, or how Puerto Ricans are, or whatever the case might be." I can't be acting like that. I gotta be an example. His own son don't act like that, so why do you act like that? You know what I'm saying? And all he's doing is gaining. He's riding on the Floyd Mayweather family because he keep asking for a fight with Floyd Sr., which is something he knows is never gonna be licensed or approved. If he wants it so bad, how come doesn't he go to the gym and spars Floyd Sr. like that kid did? They went in, right? If you wanted that back, go on over there, take a camera crew with you, you know, and make history. Oh, but you know what? The dog's barking behind the fence. But if that fence was to be taken away, it's just not gonna be pretty, man. And I'm not saying he's gonna lose. I'm not saying he's gonna win. I'm just saying stop being ridiculous. And I don't even want to keep talking about that old fool because he just, I mean, let's be real here. I mean, anyway, but Robert Guerrero in this fight, actually, let's go into and let's talk about tomorrow's fight. I wasn't going to talk about it, but let's touch on Guerrero fight and go into Gary Russell Jr. and Lomachenko real quick and see what's up. What you got, man? Any of you?
Yeah, well, you know, go ahead, Dontae.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, I'll let you could definitely talk about the Robert Guerrero. I'll be honest, I don't really know too much about Robert Guerrero's opponents. I just know he's a Japanese guy. That's all I know. And I know it's in, in California.
Well, I'll tell you what I do know. The guy's here to help him get back in shape. Let's go. We can leave that fight behind.
Yeah. Now, what's so crazy is that the fight that has all the buzz is the first fight on the card, right? Russell versus Lomachenko. That's the first fight on the card. I think that should have been the main event. I think the Robert Guerrero fight should have been the opening act. I truly think, he's fighting against a guy we don't know, and I think the Devin Alexander versus Karas fight should have been the co-main event. But there's way more on the line, I think, for Gary Russell than anyone else. I mean, don't get me wrong. Of course, if Robert loses, he out of the picture for quite some time. But Russell versus Lomachenko, if Gary Russell is what I think he is, this is a very important fight, very significant fight because I truly believe. Yeah, it's a very I truly believe that Lomachenko, of course, if he wins this fight, the sky's the limit. You just beat Gary Russell. If Gary Russell wins this fight in the fashion that I think he might win, then he could truly be looking at, future pound for pound top 3 status. I don't know yet if Lomachenko, unless Lomachenko just dominates his guy, he could be looking at the same thing. But I'm kind of leaning towards Russell to outbox him. I think he just has too much professional experience. Lomachenko didn't look good fighting on the inside. He looked very uncomfortable against Orlando Salido. He didn't use the jab, didn't take advantage of his height advantage, and that's something that I think Russell's going to capitalize off of. You go ahead and talk about the other fights, AK, or
Well, first of all, on the Robert Guerrero, like I said, I don't know nothing about his opponent, so I can't speak on that. All I know, he talking about all these fighters ducking him, but he only brings up Amir Khan, and you just duck Keith Thurman. Like, how you brag about fighters ducking you when you just ducked another fighter? So, forget about Robert. But as far as the Lomachenko versus Gary Russell fight, as bad as I wanted to see this match, I really didn't. I don't like the fact that Lomachenko getting a second shot when he just lost his last fight. I mean, that's some crazy BS. Okay, the first time you wanted to break the history record book, so it's fine. I was fine with it. I was like, I don't like it, but it's he trying to make history, so he trying to do something that it wasn't done before. But I mean, coming off a loss and getting another title shot, that wasn't. That wasn't right. That hurts the sport. But it's a good fight. Like I said, it's a close fight. But I think Gary Russell is going to pull it off because you see Lomachenko, he don't use his jab. I mean, people refer back to the Salido fight, but I told a lot of people that Salido is an awkward puncher, man. He throws some weird punches. And no matter what you say about Lomachenko, like, I don't care who he fought in the amateurs, he never fought somebody like Salido. Because he never fought a guy who's so awkward like that, So you can't prepare for Salido, kind of. But Gary Russell is kind of more like, styles that he fought back in the amateur, a technical style. So it's something that he's seen before. But, of course, Gary Russell's skill level and also his speed, his hand speed will be a problem. And the main thing is his jab. Like, during slow rounds that Lomachenko and Gary Russell are going to be trying to counter each other, like, Gary Russell's jab that he keep pumping is going to be scoring, while Lomachenko he don't use his jab at all. So that I think that's going to help Gary Russell on the scorecard, and that's how he's going to win the fight, mainly because of his jab, because he got a really good jab. That's what I think.
Well, here's the deal. I'm kind of in the middle in this fight. Like I said on my prediction video. Why? To make things a little fair, I also don't agree with the second shot at the title. I think it's disrespectful for the sport, disrespectful to a lot of fighters that have worked hard to get it and did not get it. But then again, it's not Lomachenko's fault. If the chance is given to him, why not take it, right? I think we ought to blame the promotional companies instead of the actual fighter. But anyway, to make things fair, yes, he lost to Salido. But a lot of people know Salido that night came in weighing like 147, fought an extremely awkward fight, hitting low blows, did his fight, that's the way Salido fight. Lomachenko, without his experience in the pros, was sort of relying on the referee stopping all those awkward attacks, which did not happen because they don't have to be stopped. Welcome to the pros. Figure a way out of it, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes to Gary Russell, brother got skills, brother got speed, brother got power. He's been heavily criticized for not fighting nobodies. So this is where I'm at in this fight. Lomachenko versus Gary Russell. It all depends on which fight each side brings. Because if Gary Russell comes in to do a clean boxing match, in my opinion, he's sort of fighting the type of fight that favors Lomachenko, because Lomachenko's looking for that clean boxing match, sort of amateur style. I think Russell needs to come in and implement dirty tactics of the pro game, implement speed, implement a lot of inside game and clinching in order. Because I think that if Gary Russell decides, right, to just make it a clean, like a whistle, boxing match, that's sort of, it's sort of putting it in a platter for Lomachenko. Now, I'm not saying Lomachenko's still going to win, but that just makes it so much more comfortable with him, because that's what he's used to fight his whole life. That's what he's been seeing for the past 400 fights. I don't think Gary Russell should come in here and try to do that clean boxing match. I think he needs to implement a lot of things that are not used in the amateurs in order to win this fight comfortably. Now, this fight, it's a double-edged sword for both fighters. Let me say why. if Gary Russell loses to a guy who has 1-1-1 record, then people are gonna say he was a nobody, man. Look at this fool.
Yeah.
If Lomachenko, and so that means Lomachenko will win that fight, but that would automatically put Lomachenko up there and eventually going to land him. And now that the Golden Boy and Top Rank is working together, that will put him right back as a contender for Rigondeaux, meaning he will lose that fight versus Rigondeaux off the top. And that's a fight that I will break down because that fight will happen. And I will tell you why he will lose to Rigondeaux. And again, let the hate begin. But once the fight happens, bring it on back to home, brother. But exactly. So if Lomachenko wins, then he's going straight to the big dogs. The big dogs that will continue to do the same thing that Salido did to you. Now, if Gary Russell wins this fight, right, and Lomachenko loses, what's going to happen to Lomachenko? We may not hear from Lomachenko for the next 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to say, you've been given 2 chances. You've lost your last 2 fights. You only got this much pro fights. Go on and rebuild yourself, right? Gary Russell wins this fight. He gets thrown in there with the bigger dog. Now he needs to act like a big dog himself. So I'm not opposed to that because it'll make for great and exciting fights. It would answer a lot of questions on people's mind. So I'm kind of staying in the middle with this fight. I want to see what the fighters bring to the table on this occasion. I'm more interested to see what Gary Russell's going to do.
Yeah, pick one though,
That's
man.
what I'm saying.
We got to pick one. Go ahead, pick one.
I got to pick one. Okay, well, I'll tell you who I pick. Mini, miny, mo. I'm staying in the middle.
Come on, man.
No, but if I have to, okay, this is how I put it. Again, it is so hard. If I have to choose one off the top of my head, because of the pro experience, I will say Gary Russell Jr. But I will go on record and say this. Gary Russell Jr. makes the mistake of bringing a clean boxing match to a clean boxer, because that is something I got to give credit to Lomachenko. If you bring a clean boxing match with him, he will put up a heck of a fight. If Gary Russell brings that type of fight, then who's to say that he may not win? You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at. If I have to pick one right now, I will go with Gary Russell just because he's been there in the pro ranks just a little more.
I got you.
And that's the reason. And that's the reason why I was telling people that Russell has way more to lose in this fight because there are high expectations. There's high expectations for Gary Russell, and especially for me. I expect him to do big things. And like you said, if he can't beat a guy with 3 fights, forget about the fact that he has 400, amateur fights. If Gary Russell can't beat a guy with 3 fights, then he is not the future of the sport. That's just, he could, of course, go out and win a belt. But, but just winning a belt don't mean you one of the best fighters in the world, pound for pound. So, but I think when you said, he can't just fight a clean fight, maybe I'm giving Russell a lot more credit because I've watched a lot of his fights. But I truly believe by studying his fights, he's smart enough to adjust and know what he needs to do from round to round. I think, watching all his fights, I've seen it where he fights on the inside, where he fights on the outside, where he uses his feet, where he's on that Mike Tyson mode, so I think he's going to be able to adjust. So, I can't wait to watch the fight, man.
Would you say this would end by knockout?
Yeah, say it again? Who by knockout?
Would you say that this fight could end by knockout?
Oh, definitely. I think it's a really good chance that it won't go 12 rounds.
To the body,
I think it's a real good chance.
To the head.
Definitely, I can't see this. I definitely can't see this fight going 12 rounds without at least somebody getting knocked down or staggered and wobbled.
Yeah.
Because both of them have very good power. So this is going to be this should be the best fight on the card.
Who do y'all think is the better puncher? Because I think if there's going to be a knockdown or a knockout, I really think it's going to be to the body because they both kind of leave themselves vulnerable to the body, And, I think if somebody is going to get knocked down or knocked out, it might be to the body. But who y'all think is the better puncher? Because Gary Russell has better hand speed.
Honestly, I don't even think. I don't think Lomachenko has been fighting enough pros to really even know how strong he is.
Yeah.
He fought against.
It's hard to tell with Lomachenko.
Yeah. So I'd have to see him fight a lot because I ain't seen too many of his amateur fights, and that's a lot different. But all I know is what's his name, Gary Russell. He done caught a lot of guys with that right hook. He loves throwing that counter right. I don't remember if it's the left hook, but he has a counter hook that he throws, and he's knocked a lot of guys out. And you're right though, AK, the body shots will most likely see that might play a big role in this fight because once again, what's his name, Lomachenko, he's not comfortable with inside fighting. He's not comfortable with inside fighting. So
you know one thing because Lomachenko is a looping puncher. Like he don't throw straight punch. You know, from the outside he don't throw sharp punches. He like a looping puncher and he don't feel comfortable in the inside. Yeah, and in the inside he don't really feel that comfortable. Even if you saw his first pro fight, I almost felt some type of way the way he was moving around, like not comfortable. You know, and like I said, I don't think Gary Russell will be the guy to make him not comfortable in the inside that much though, because due to the fact that Gary Russell is more of a boxer. But we'll see though. I think it's going to be a close fight. I mean, I can't wait for that fight though. Hey, well, what are you?
It's an interesting fight.
Yeah, what are y'all thoughts on Karas versus Alexander? Because you know, I mean, I don't know how Karas is going to come back. Because Karas, man, Keith Thurman, you know, he knocked him bad, but
Here is the deal. Okay. Devin Alexander is not a fighter that I'm into that much. However, I will say this. Does the kid got skills? Yes, he does. Does he have speed? Yes, he does. Does he possesses good boxing? Yes, he does. Right? I'm more concerned. I want to see what's going to happen. I want to see how he has come back from that run over that he received from Sean Porter. Because I'm sure you guys would agree with me. Sean Porter was all over that kid like a pit bull on a piece of steak, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, Soto Carras is a guy that can knock you out. He will just put you to sleep.
Go ahead, Dontae.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that Devin Alexander is limited. He's definitely limited. I never really seen, once he lost with Kotelnik or something, or he had a close fight with Kotelnik, and then he had the close fight with Lucas Matisse. But after the Sean Porter situation, I pretty much felt like he was a done deal. I mean, he's still a good gatekeeper, and he could even probably win, a title. But when it comes in fighting against Karas, I still think that he will outbox Karas pretty easy. Like you said, Sean Porter was all over him. But remember what Sean Porter did to Paulie Malignaggi. He couldn't even do that with Devin Alexander. Devin was getting beat up in that fight, but he wasn't going nowhere though. So I think Devin is pretty tough when it comes to the chin and his durability. And I think his foot movement, he'll move more, he'll tie up Karas on the inside, and he'll most likely outbox him. A 12-round decision, I think.
Yeah, one thing.
Yeah,
too,
it could happen,
Yeah, Alexander, he's going to have to do a lot of tying up because Karas, even though he's so, he got the reach, of course, advantage, but he's not a boxer. He's a brawler. So, he could use his jab, but Alexander is going to win that department. So, but the inside game, the way Karas throws punches the inside, he throws 100 punches around. Alexander he's going to have to do a lot of tying up because Alexander don't know how to fight on the inside. Yeah, he don't know how to fight on the inside. So it's an interesting fight.
The one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm done. I was done.
Okay, the one thing I have to say about Devin Alexander is that he's still going to the same barber because he still got the same messed up fade on his head. Period.
Yeah.
Every time I see that kid, I keep wondering who's cutting his hair, man.
Hey, don't he look like a skinny Evander Holyfield though, man? He
don't look
like a skinny Evander Holyfield, man. Yeah, that's what he looked like. Only difference is he got that big ass nugget head, but outside of that, yeah,
man, for real. Okay, let's go to this fight, man. June 28th. June 28th.
Hagler
Nebraska will be experiencing.
Nebraska
will be experiencing his sacrifice since 40. What was the last time somebody fought there? 42 years ago. At this kid's home.
42, yeah.
Yeah. 42 years ago. Now, a lot of people are saying that, this is sort of accommodated for Crawford because of their hometown, because of the name. I kind of have to disagree up to a certain extent on that. We can't say that Crawford just has a chance to win because of his hometown, or the fight taking place in his hometown. Because when you do that, you're being blinded by what this kid is offering to the game of boxing. Like I said on my video, I love Gamboa. That's one of my boys. I'm Cuban just like him. I love him to death. But I can't be blinded by the fact that Crawford possesses so much skills. That Crawford is such a good boxer. I can't be blinded by the fact that Gamboa hasn't been performing well because of his inactivity. I can't be blinded by the fact that Crawford is like 10 inches taller than Gamboa. I can't be blinded by all those things that are outweighing Gamboa. I don't think that Crawford's chance to win depends on his hometown. I believe this fight is such an intriguing match in my eyes that some of you might say Crawford will win. Some of you will say Gamboa will win. But hey, the truth of the matter is that either of this fighter can pull out one of those shocking victories, even a knockout during this fight. It's such a hard fight to call. Yeah, What do you got to say about that, Dontae?
I mean, look, man, I was leaning towards Crawford, but I'm telling you, after watching all of these upsets, I've been really kind of almost on a fence with a lot of these fights, especially this fight right here. I wouldn't be surprised, man, if Gamboa just comes out of nowhere and puts on an unbelievable boxing exhibition. And Crawford is in the ring looking at him like, God damn, I didn't know he was this damn good. I mean, it's just the possibilities are endless. But, this is a tough fight, man. I lean towards Crawford, but I'm really starting to wonder now, like I said, with all the stuff that's going on in the sport of boxing. I mean, when you talk about fighting in someone's hometown, you got to think of all the times that fighters lose when they come to their own hometown. Zab Judah, he
because of the pressure, right?
In his hometown. Yeah, I mean, you had a lot of fights where the guy Sergio Martinez lost to Martin Murray, truth be told, in his own hometown. So, I mean, this is a tough fight. There's more pressure.
Alvarado loses to Provodnica in his hometown.
There you go. All day. We could do it all day. So
here's the deal.
It's really more pressure. It's really more pressure on Crawford than it is Gamboa, I think.
Go on and say something, Arab, and then I'll put my piece in.
Yeah, well, Gamboa is crazy, though, to be honest with you, still, for him taking that fight in Crawford hometown.
I got to give him a lot of credit for that, too.
You got to give him a lot of credit because, I mean, fighting somebody like Crawford, and you got to give Crawford some credit, too, because he beat Ricky Burns in his hometown. But like I said, Gamboa fought a dangerous fighter after a year layoff in his hometown. But like y'all said, that could be a disadvantage for Crawford, too, because he want to put on a show. And you don't want to put on a show against Gamboa because you want to box. You want to stay on the outside. You don't want to let Gamboa inside and, make it an inside fight where
in mid-range.
And make Gamboa, you give Gamboa his chance. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this is a
tough
fight.
Because that's what I was going to say,
Yeah. That's a tough fight.
If you put Gamboa at the mid-range and on the inside, it's going to be a dark day for Crawford just because Crawford possesses excellent boxing skills. But where he's most comfortable is at that long range. If Crawford can keep you out there at the end of those punches, man, you're going to have a very dark night. Like what happened to Ricky Burns. I mean, Crawford, if you're going to fight him, you got to fight him mid-range or inside. I've never seen him be very comfortable on the mid-range. And truth be told, it's only happened in a couple of his fights. He's only allowed it to happen in a couple of his fights, mainly because of the fighters. I don't know if the fighters didn't possess the skills to keep a fight on the mid-range or it's just that Crawford is that good. But if Crawford makes the mistake of trading on the inside with Gamboa, I don't know, man. I don't think that's a smart idea. I think you should keep the fight where it's comfortable for you instead of trying to prove a point by giving the fighter, your opponent, the fight that's comfortable for him. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep that fight on your side. all day, you know.
Yeah. Like I said, you know, because of him trying
Let
to.
me ask real quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask real quick. Oh, did we freeze up? Oh, Ranger, you freezing up over there. Oh, okay. I thought we ran out of time or something. Anyway,
this
what you guys
Dontae
think about
Boxing Nation
Garcia
show.
now, Mikey Garcia?
Oh man! Oh Dontae, you just said the top. You just read my mind, man. You just read my mind with the Garcia thing.
So you already knew what we was gonna talk about, huh? No,
Listen,
Mikey Garcia.
man.
I'm curious. Hey, I'm real curious to know what's gonna happen with Garcia because, like I said, he ducks the Gamboa fight. Now Bob Arum, I told you the truth always comes out. We can argue on the internet all day, but the truth always comes out. And now Arum, he done admitted that this man, it had nothing to do with money, and Mikey Garcia didn't really want the money, didn't want the fight. That's pretty much what he said. Then they try to present a no-name opponent to HBO.
HBO wouldn't have it.
Fighting this dude on our channel, right? So now now Mikey Garcia is stuck in limbo. So I'm curious. I'm really curious to know what is Mikey Garcia gonna do. And then you got Javier Fortuna calling out Mikey Garcia.
Ooh, yeah.
So I mean, he's got a tough road, man. What you guys think about that?
Well, listen. Let me go on and say something about Mikey Garcia. Okay, I gotta behave. All right. He is in a tough position. Okay. Now all of his fans are feeling like trash because everything they had been trying to argue with us, they just realized that Mikey had been lying to them the whole time, right? Yeah. But let's say that Bob Arum, you know, well, okay, let's put it this way. You can't even use the subject of the money because Gamboa went himself on national television. Blow by Blow. This is the show in Mexico. It's a boxing show. It's called Blow by Blow. Golpe a golpe. O a los golpes. Or something like that. And they asked him. Chavez Sr. was there, and he asked him, there's these rumors that you're overpricing yourself, blah, blah, blah. And the other guy was asking the same thing. He said, he looked to the cameras and he said, okay, if this is the excuse Mikey's saying, well, I'm willing to fight Mikey for whatever it is that he's wanting me to fight him for. Let's make the fight happen. So the minute you're saying, I can't fight Gamboa because he's asking for $1 million, I want him to have 500,000. And then Gamboa says, okay, I'll take the 500,000. And you're still ducking him and you're still using the money excuse? Sounds fishy to me, but it sounds like you're scared of the fighter. And since you've already seen that your fans are eating the red meat that you've been throwing in, then it's comfortable for you to say, well, you know, it's just he's asking for too much money. You know what I'm saying? But then comes your promoter, your protector, and just pulls it out there, man. You know, it was never about the money. Gamboa never even overpriced himself. So I don't know when it comes to Mikey Garcia what's going to happen to him. I think if Mikey was smart, he would go ahead and either give the fight to Fortuna, either give the fight to Fortuna, or after the fight with Crawford, he can say, okay, Gamboa won or Gamboa lost. I want the fight with Gamboa, period. Because whether Gamboa loses or wins, I guarantee you that people still want to see the fight, including those who don't like Gamboa. Period.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
And Bob Arum, he contradicted himself. I mean, when the fight first, Bob Arum came out when he said, who the fuck is Gamboa? I mean, shit, he not worth nothing, this and that. And now he comes out and say, oh, Gamboa is a big name. They just lied to Mikey Garcia. I mean, like Mikey Garcia listened to somebody in the streets, like Dontae Boxing Nation said, I mean, it's funny. What fight, other than the Gamboa fight, that could be, I mean, name me a fight that could be bigger than Mikey Garcia versus Gamboa for Mikey Garcia. I truly believe even if Mikey fights Crawford, it won't be a bigger fight than Gamboa. He's going to have to move up in weight and fight Pacquiao or freaking Mayweather or something for it to be a bigger fight. There's no fight, below 135 that could be bigger than Gamboa versus Mikey Garcia. And Mikey Garcia was getting the bigger purse, and he lied saying that he's getting he's not getting a fair shake, this and that, and he got exposed. And like I said, he never wanted the fight because this is a history that's being repeated. I mean, his brother got knocked out by a Cuban. His fighters lost to Cubans, and he just don't want his brother to lose to another Cuban, and that's what it is. And we'll see if Mikey Garcia fight the winner of Crawford versus Gamboa. Like I said, I don't care
Hopefully
if he
does.
I don't care if he fight the winner or the loser, because I believe Crawford take him to school. I believe Gamboa, knocks him out. So, like I said, I truly believe, and I told people that Crawford is way harder than a Mikey Garcia fight for Gamboa, because I'm telling you, man, and I think Crawford beat Mikey like 4 times in the amateurs. I think Robert Garcia said that or something like that.
Was it like 4 times?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought
I'm not sure. I thought it was on the Ali setback video.
However many times he beat him, like you said, ain't no way. You know damn well Mikey ain't gonna fight no damn Crawford, especially if he beats Gamboa. You can forget about that. I mean, the main thing, once again, Robert Garcia is the main person. When it comes to ducking, when it comes to his brother avoiding, I think this really has more to do with Robert Garcia. He understands boxing. He understands that that's going to be a major setback for Mikey Garcia if he loses, just like he lost to Diego Corrales when he was young and in his prime. I bet Robert Garcia say, damn, if I would have ducked him and never fought him, I probably would have ended up, making some serious ass money in the sport of boxing. So now he's living through his brother. And he's saying, you ain't going to fight them damn Cubans, because I got knocked out by him a couple times. And he's saying, you ain't going to be fighting these young undefeated dudes who might knock you out. He wants to try to keep him on that weak tip.
Yeah, Robert.
And just try to keep him winning. But HBO ain't going for it, though.
I'm glad HBO ain't going for it. Robert Garcia, it's a subject in my book, contradiction. It's a subject of, it's a flower that's been watered by the publicity that a YouTuber has given her. Really. Ellie Setback is the one that's given Robert, I would say 60% of his fame. Because 90% of his videos are inside that gym. But it's funny how Robert Garcia would get mad because Freddie Roach said effing Mexican, but then he goes and says, well, effing Cubans. So that's why I said he's a page of contradiction. You know what I'm saying? You get mad, you call somebody a racist because he said effing Mexican, but what do you call yourself for saying effing Cuban? Now let's leave that fool aside. Mikey Garcia is in a tough situation because here's the deal. What's he gonna do at 130 other than fight with Gamboa? I don't think anything else. If he moves up to 135, he's in the top division where he's going to get knocked out even sooner than at 130. Because you got Crawford. Because you got Ramses Barthelemy in there as well, who is soon to be crowned a legitimate champion, who is soon to be calling out the big names, and you're not going to be able to avoid this kid. Not only that, man, the 135 division is not for Mikey. People want to say, he's a big boy, he can handle it. No, he's not. He can't handle it. He's already been, he was down at 130, and then he was wobbled by a guy with no power shots. Now, should we say Mikey ain't got a chin because he was down versus the Puerto Rican?
Yeah, I mean,
is that a fair argument?
Man, I think it don't even have to be. It don't even have to be a Crawford or Gamboa. I mean, Abril will outbox him, and I don't even know what happened to Abril. Man, I didn't even see that kid in a long time, but. Abril will outbox him, and he will take him to school easy at 135. So it's better off for him to stay at 130. And I don't know for how long he's going to be able to duck fighters and avoid fights.
Easy, man. Yeah. It's one of those things. He's caught against a rock and a hard place because, But anyways, guys, we're going on an hour and a half. I like to remind you guys one more time. Go to Dontae's Boxing Nation and subscribe here on YouTube. Go to the ArabKing and subscribe here on YouTube. Come to RawBoxingTV and subscribe. We're pulling out videos. We're sharing our knowledge, even though it's not well taken in, because truth just always hurts for some reason. Everybody that says the truth seems to be criticized. I love criticism.
Yeah, but
by the way, I'm changing my legal name. My name's gonna be called Ranger the Hater Matos because I've heard the word hater so much that I might as well add it as a middle name.
Yeah, but before we close out the video, man, I gotta get y'all thoughts on the fight that's gonna be on my birthday.
Oh, okay.
Sean Porter versus your boy Kell Brook, man. What y'all think?
You already know. Just real quick. Hey, it's funny too. I don't normally mention too many other cats, but it surprised me that Dwyer, he actually he's picking Kell Brook to beat Sean Porter. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Me personally, I think the pressure of Sean Porter is going to be just a little bit too much for Kell Brook. And I want to go back and I want to start watching some more Kell Brook fights though, because I watched
too. That's what I need to do.
The Carson Jones fight. Yeah. I watched a little bit of the Carson Jones fight or whatever, but I want to go back and watch some more of his fights. But Sean Porter, he one of them fighters that's gradually growing. I mean, he's completely evolving and getting better and better. So, and I think with him now having a championship belt, he has the confidence. And long story short, I think he's gonna out hustle and he's gonna bring it to Kell Brook and most likely.
Yeah. I think that in order for Kell Brooks to keep Sean Porter away from him, man, he's gonna have to double and triple up those jabs, use a lot of lateral movements. But then again, how long can you keep that pace of fighting against a fighter who's constantly grinding at you like Sean Porter? I want to watch more of Kell Brooks' fight, but right now, before I watch those fights, I just got to stick with Sean Porter. But I will see. I'll make my prediction video on that fight. I want to watch 3 or 4 fights, at least his last 4 fights, Kell Brooks fights, before I actually make a legitimate prediction on that.
Yeah, just don't watch one of Kell Brook fights when he fought a guy with 190 losses. Don't watch them fights, man.
Are you serious?
Leave them fights alone. Kind of, during his early career.
I know.
Yeah, but of course,
anyway, guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that, sometimes Sean Porter, he lunges forth and, he get countered. He better watch out because Kell Brook is a puncher, He want to watch out. He don't want to lunge a lot against Kell Brook because Kell Brook is a good counter puncher. But other than that, I just don't think Kell Brook going to be able to maintain keeping Sean Porter on the outside. And Sean Porter going to find his way inside and land body shots. And he probably going to get Kell Brook out of there. So I'm going with Sean Porter.
Yep, that's a fair pick for now. Like I said, I want to give my legitimate pick once I watch a couple of fights and I draw my own conclusion. I want to study both styles and see what can come out of a fight between them before I actually give my actual prediction on this fight.
Trainer Ranger. I didn't know you was a trainer, but figure it out.
I did. I mean, Bug-Eye Promotions, if you're able to contact them online, Bug-Eye Promotion. I also worked on Louisville MMA. I taught boxing there for a while. I worked at Louisville Slangers with Greg Pills. Most of the fighters that I worked for was pretty much, unfortunately, because of the area where I live in, fighters that never took their career as serious as they should have. That's one of the things that not many people know about me. They think I'm just a boxing fan. They don't realize that I'm an ex-fighter. They don't realize that I've taught boxing myself. They keep thinking that I'm just saying all these things because I'm just a hater or because I'm this or I'm that. I'm not the best here on YouTube. I'm not the worst here on YouTube. I'm just a guy that just happens to know a little bit about boxing. And just to add a little bit of credit to myself, and this is something that can be bared witness with all of the students of the place that I'm about to mention. When I first entered MMA, Louisville MMA, MMA Highlanders, they were good on ground game. They were horrible on the stand-up. When they started following my instruction when it comes to boxing, they made a significant boost on their victories. So I'm not saying again. I would have never even said that if Arab. I mentioned it in one of my videos, but people realize this. People need to realize that I'm not just a YouTube fan.
32-0.
I'm an ex-fighter as an amateur, and and I taught boxing. It's just, and unfortunately, I wish I had my things here, but I took my medals to Cuba so my dad can have them as a token of the sport that me and him love. So whenever I go to Cuba, which is something me and Dontae want to do, we're gonna bring you guys some good footage, man. Some real boxing, and it's gonna happen in hopefully next year and a half. So we'll see what happens, man. Stay tuned, guys.
Yeah, and
I'm extremely hungry. That's why I'm trying to cut this video, people.
Before I let you go, also, also before I let you go, Dontae, look out for his son. He also trained his sons, and he's a very good. I saw clips of him, man. Your son, future pound for pound, man. I'm telling you, he was he was looking very good, man. Keep that up.
Appreciate it.
Again, I want to remind you guys. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. And I was just saying, my older son, he just got back into it as well. So I see it's a big lag. It's a lag. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
I just want to remind you guys again. Tuesdays, 3:00. What time? 3:00. What?
6 Eastern.
3, but we might change it back to 4. But for now, it's 3 p.m. on Tuesdays Pacific Standard Time. You just go ahead and log on to alltalkradio.net. You can watch it live, and eventually we're going to give out the number so you guys can call in if you want to, because people are starting to ask, how they can call in. So that's what it is.
It's also 6 Eastern Time. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes,
follow us all on Twitter. We all got our Twitter account in our description box where you can go on there and subscribe. Also, follow Deportes Cubano USA. Excellent channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if you want to make, if you want to get autographed T-shirts, autographed gloves. Man, boxing is not going anywhere. Period. We're here to stay. I thank you guys for sticking around with us for about an hour and a half. And I thank the haters for keeping us back.
The hour and a half went out quick, and I just want to say, man, Ranger, man, you could have won the glove, man. You could have won the glove. But it's all right, man, and, save us some food.
Hey, man, but guess what? I got something here not everybody got. I got gloves signed by Guillermo Rico, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I
got to eat, man. Brother hungry.
Yeah, save us some food, all right?
All right, man. Guys, it's been a blast.
Take care.
No doubt.
Yeah, all right.